Good morning. Welcome to Elizabeth Sharon Ann Bible Study. This is February the 4th, 2022. And thank you so much for joining us. We read the 1 year New Living Translation every day at 8:30 live. You can always catch it later if you miss the live recording. But when you do, go ahead and put a note in the chat box so we'll be able to see that you were there. Good morning, Bandy and Jana. So glad that y'all joined us. Nancy and I have been texting last night. I think we could probably, and that's why with most of you, we could probably text or chat about what we found in the Bible all day long because it's so interesting. Nancy reminded me that I had actually done last year's Bible study on February the 4th. Here we are today, and I get to do it again, which I'm certainly honored to get to do it on the day that we talk about the 10 Commandments. But as I look into my Bible and through my notes, those were good, but I found new notes, new nuggets, and things that I hadn't seen. And that's the awesome thing about the Bible is there's revelations in there that we can just keep digging, and that's why we read it and we study. And you don't just check off the box that says that you finished today's reading today. Another reason I wanted to read just a snippet out of my devotion this morning, and this just kind of wraps up why we read the Bible every day. It says, just as I put clothes on my body each morning, I need to clothe myself with you every day. This nearness to you helps me make good decisions. So, do you agree that we probably could make better decisions? I sure could. So let's get started. This is just absolutely so great. And you know what? I started looking to see, I started bringing Bibles in and commentaries and stuff, and I've got five. I got 5 Bibles here. I've got David Jeremiah Study Bible. I've got my 1-year Bible. I've got an archaeological Bible, the Message Bible, and the NIV Life Application. So I'm taking a piece out of everything. And you know what? You don't have to have all of those if you don't want to. You can just get in the Word and always pray that God will reveal something new as you get into it. Okay. So, and also prayer requests, be sure and put your prayer request in the chat box, and include your praise, because we want to know how God's working in your life and all the miracles that he's doing, because you know what, he's still doing miracles today like he did back in Moses' days. Okay, so let's start Exodus 19:16 through chapter 21. Now that was Exodus 19, verse 16 through chapter 21, verse 21. On the morning of the 3rd day, I talked about this yesterday. Things happen whenever you get to the 3rd day. And sometimes it's God that's happening. Thunder roared, lightning flashed, and a dense cloud came upon the mountain. There was a long blast from a ram's horn, and all the people trembled. It goes on down to say, Moses led them out of the camp to meet God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. All of the Mount Sinai was covered with smoke because the Lord had descended on it in the form of fire. Smoke billowed into the sky like smoke from a brick kiln, and the whole mountain shook violently. Okay, so let's talk about this for just a minute. I live in Oklahoma, and of course, there's nothing saying there's not storms across everywhere, wherever you live. But we see the lightning, we see the thunder, we hear the loud noise of those spring storms come rolling in, and that's a bit scary. We've seen tornadoes roll around our state, our neighborhood, maybe around your house. But that is scary. But we understand that, because we know that rain happens. We know that storms come. But what do you think if in the middle of that storm, you heard this unbelievably loud blast from a horn? In this case, it was a ram's horn. Loud. You can't explain that other than that's God. These people rightly shook in their shoes, caused them to tremble. It says it came from heaven. And I thought, my goodness, if you are with them and you're looking at this huge mountain and you're supposed to go up it now, and there's like almost 2 million people. What are you thinking? This is beyond scary. It says in verse 19, as the blast of the ram's horn grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God thundered his reply. Thundered. Verse 20, the Lord came down on top of Mount Sinai and called Moses to the top of the mountain. So Moses climbed the mountain. And he was probably, was he excited? Was he concerned? I don't know. I've lived here all of my life and I don't want to go outside whenever I hear thunder. I will long enough to run to the storm shelter, but I don't want to be out in that. Good morning, Sue and Donna. Yes, Sue says it's a cold morning. It's absolutely nippy still, but the sun's out, Sue. So I've got great expectations for this day. You have to wear sunglasses when you go outside with snow and sun, don't you? Okay, so let's get going here. So verse 21, the Lord told Moses, go back down and warn the people not to break through boundaries to see the Lord or they'll die. Now, I wanted to talk about that for a minute because boundaries are important. We need to have boundaries in every aspect of our life. You need to have boundaries for your family, your neighbors, your job. Boundaries is biblical. We're going to go on because I got way too many things to settle in on this. I want to settle in on this because this is so good. But we're going on down to chapter 21. It says, then God gave the people all of these instructions. Then God. And he gave the instructions. God spoke these words to Israel as a whole. Everybody heard this. They were strong, simple terms. Everybody could understand it. And they dealt with temptations of the common man, issues of the common man. Remember, there's like over 2 million people, maybe 2.5, 3 million people here in this big old convoy of people marching. They need some rules. And he says, this is the 10 commandments. I am the Lord your God who rescued you from the land. And I don't know if you've got the Bible that has the side notes over there, but over on the side, it's got all of the little the 2 tablets split in half where it makes it easy for you to jump in there and look. But what I want to say, well, first, I am the Lord your God who rescued you from the land of Egypt, the place of your slavery. You must not have any other God before me. Now, this was the foundation of everything. And the first four, I got to make sure I don't have all my fingers out. The first 4 is our duty towards God. The last 6 is our duty towards man. So, I mean, they've got this right. Let's get everything right with God first, and then we will focus on your relationships. But you got to get right with God. That's just a new little nugget that I just now got. Don't make any images for yourself. No idol of any kind. See, it keeps saying, I am the Lord your God. If you go through and highlight that, I think it says that about 5 times. Where did I had a note on that too. He says, every time he speaks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, every time he speaks in this section, he says, almost every time, I am the Lord your God. See, he keeps reinforcing that each and every time. So the idol, the image is second. He's jealous for us. He does not want us to look at anything else above him. And then the third one is, you must not misuse the name of the Lord your God. Don't use his name. His name is so precious that they only used like letters and some people couldn't even say it. But don't, so many times that we hear people use his name in profanity, hypocrisy, frivolity. Don't just throw his name out there in a oh, I don't even know how I want to word that. Maybe that's part of my rambling on. I don't want to do that. Okay, so then number 4, remember to observe the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Folks, we work, it says that you work for 6 days. Well, you know what? Generally, we've got a 5-day work week in this age, and we have 2 days on the weekend or weekdays, whichever your days fall on, that we can do our business and rest. But sometimes we get all wrapped up in staying busy and doing something all the time. When are you giving yourself time to focus on the word and just really, really getting to know him? The Sabbath rest is dedicated to the Lord your God. No excuses. I mean, we're talking about God that made the whole world, the heavens and the earth, and he rested. You think you're above resting? And then the 5th one, honor your mother and father. And if you do, then guess what? You'll live a long life, full in the land of the Lord your God. And it's a promise. He's giving this promise to you. Honor. As we get older, I mean, my parents are deceased, but you still have parents. Maybe you don't live in the house anymore because you're grown, you're an adult, and you don't have the same role as you did as a child growing up, but you still honor and respect your parents. You still look after them. You take care of them. You show them love. Okay, the 6th one, you must not murder. 7, you must not commit adultery. And 8, you must not steal. See, this is all against man. 9, you must not testify falsely against your neighbor. And 10, don't be looking to see what the Joneses have. They've already got whatever, and you don't need to be peeking over the fence to see what they've got. You need to go buy one, like it better, or get 2, whatever it is. And well, so as we see in Matthew at another time, and then the New Testament, we'll see how Jesus adds to these, because with Jesus, all of this becomes a heart issue. Okay, so in 18, when the people heard the thunder and loud blast of the ram's horn, and saw the flashes of lightning and the smoke billowing from the mountain, they stood at a distance and trembled with fear. And they said, Moses, You speak to us and we'll listen, but don't let God speak to us because we'll die. They're scared. And so Moses became like the first mediator. And who's your mediator today? It's Jesus. Jesus took that place. He stepped in there. Yes, Nancy says last commandments show how to love others. That's all about man. First four is about God, your relationship with him, and the last six are about how to love others and respect others and honor others. That's good. And so it goes on. I got to jump down to let's go into verse 25. This is a new one that I found. I found this nugget this morning when they're making an altar. And it says, if you use stones to build my altar, use only natural uncut stones. Do not shape stones with a tool, for that would make the altar unfit for holy use. Well, what difference does that make? Why do you not have to use, why does he not want you to use a tool? So as I that jumped at me, and so I start digging and looking and to see what difference does it make? Well, for some say that because tools can also be used to slaughter an animal, maybe kill somebody, its use will not be on an altar that's going to be sacred. It may have killed something. And so it's defiled. And so, you know what? You can probably find some other things, but that was a snippet, was that it probably has been used for something else. And, it's a symbolism. It's a symbolism. And I got to thinking about symbolisms earlier because, we have things that we say or do that might have another meaning. And so if it is perceived as negative, don't do it. Like we see others, if they get mad at you whenever you're in traffic and they have this certain wave that they flip out the window. Well, okay, it's part of your body. God made all your body and your body is all good. But the meaning behind what the symbolism of what they do is what's not right. And we as believers want to understand that and not do things that look bad. It's a hard issue. It's always a hard issue. Okay, let's move on to chapter 21. Now, these are regulations that you must present to Israel, and this is for Moses to present to him. And this was probably made because of his experience in settling disputes with everybody. Because remember, he had over 2 million people. And so chapters 21 through 23 is going to have laws on a variety of subjects because, you know what? He'd been sitting there, settling disputes for so long that he knew the most popular things that was happening. It was occurring over and over and over again. Oh, and over. Because he thought, thank you, Jethro, my father-in-law, for having me get somebody to help me with this. Okay, so it talks about slavery in this chapter. If you buy a Hebrew slave, he may serve for no more than 6 years, and then he's freed in the 7th year. And see, and he will owe nothing for his freedom. And so this, the meaning behind this, and remember, we're talking about all of these people that have been together and on this journey, and there was things that happened that wasn't right. So a person may become a slave to somebody because of poverty, because of a crime, or something. Just think of it as like, they didn't have a jail to put anybody in. So if I did something, let's say that I stole Sue's cooking pot out as we were camping. She wants it back. I don't want to give it back to her. But because I stole something, then I have to do something for her, if you want to call it that. But I've lost my words this morning, folks. But you have to give back. You have to give back. And Charles Spurgeon said once, Moses did not institute slavery in any shape. The laws concerning it were made on purpose to repress it. See, they could get it, they could work and then gain their freedom back. And also to confine it within narrow bounds and ultimately put an end to it. Yes, Nancy, you're helping me. Jews could sell themselves to pay for debts, and perhaps a thief and he could pay his victims. So I still kind of think of it like, they didn't have a jail cell to get into. So even if you go to jail, if you are accused of and judged from stealing, you still have to pay back. And so here was another nugget. And so the slave, what if the slave doesn't want to go anywhere? He wants to stay with his master, wife, and children because he loves them. Has nowhere else to go. And it says, then his master must take him to the door or doorpost and publicly pierce his ear with an awl. And then he will serve his master for life. And I thought, oh my goodness, I sent Nancy a message. Why didn't they put an earring in? Why would you pierce your ear and not put an earring? Isn't there a purpose for that? But here's more nuggets. This change to life servant was a significant ceremony. He was actually attached to the house by having an awl forced through his ear and driven through the doorpost. Opening the ear became a synonym for assigning a man to a slave for perpetuity. I could not hardly say that. So it wasn't to put something in it. It was a sign. And look at Jesus was put on the cross, and they put nails through his hands and his feet. And he had the scars, he had the holes in his hand to show. And so we go on down, and it talks about, just stuff that happens. You could just imagine again. They're all traveling together. I just can't imagine. It addresses if somebody is assaulted or killed. It addresses kidnappers or somebody that dishonors their mother and father. They couldn't have this stuff going on with this many people. The idea was for an adult who threatened their parent, though severe, man, this is one of those days I should have practiced words. Preserved a critical foundation for a civilized society. So we had to have rules. We had to have some type of boundary, a moral code, that when you've got that many people traveling together, or maybe it's just people living in your neighborhood. Do you get along with all your neighbors? Yeah, you know what? Just think about this. This would have been a challenge if a man beats his male or female slave with a club. These things happen then, but you know what? You can turn on the news and you can see somebody beating somebody else, to steal their car, their purse, their coat. So we probably need to have people read this again, how severe stuff is. Okay, so let's go on to Matthew 23, 13 through 39. And this is the woes. This is the woes. And you know what? If you got in some of your Bibles, it might say the 7 woes. But if you really look hard, it's going to be 8 woes. And the 8 woes is just due to the fact that verse 14 has been pulled out. And verse 14 is in, if you look in the little tiny notes, verse 14 does fall in Mark and Luke. So it's not totally left out. I'm having to grab my other Bible. This is another Bible. And another thing that I want you to do today too, because it's really good. If you have the Message Bible by Eugene Peterson, I want you to read this in there, because now he speaks it. He speaks it because it's these woes start out by in the book we're reading right now, the Bible we're reading right now, it says, what sorrow awaits you? Well, in the Message, he says, I've had it with you. You're hopeless. You religion scholars, you Pharisees, frauds, your lives are roadblocks to God's kingdom. You refuse to enter and won't let anybody else enter either. And he just goes on, and it is really fun reading his notes. But we read in if you had verse 23:14, which is again, it's in the little small print. It also talks about not letting others enter the kingdom of heaven and not entering yourselves. They made their show for like big donations. It was a showy thing. And then in verse 15, converting people away from God to be like yourselves. So you know what? Whenever somebody is miserable, don't they like for everybody to join their misery team? Let's just all get together and be grumpy, and don't share anything. And then in 16 through 22, they're blindly leading God's people to follow man-made traditions instead of God's word. And so this is where we have to be really careful today, because you know what? My thoughts about all of this is what I received. And your pastor is what he received whenever he was preaching to you. Anytime that you're studying the word or you're listening to somebody, go into the word yourself and see what it speaks to you. Because you know what? We're all human, and we're all learning, and you might find something different, and it's for you to share. The woes are just so interesting. And then to 23 and 24, involving yourself in every last detail and ignoring what is really important. Are you ignoring justice, mercy, and faith? And then verse 25 and 26, keeping up with appearances while your private world is corrupt. Are you able to, if you have company just drop in, uninvited, how does that affect you? Do you have anything that you need to hide? The scribes and Pharisees were satisfied with superficial cleansing and the appearance of righteousness. See, they wanted everything on the outside to look really churchy. And so as they left their house, they had the appearance of knowing God and doing the right thing. But let things change, and they might blast you with some choice words or something. Okay, in verse 27 and 28, acting spiritual to cover up sin, that's pretty much related there. And it mentions whitewashed tombs, and this is another example of being really pretty and decorated on the outside, but dead on the inside. And then 29 through 36 is pretending to have learned past history, but your present behavior shows you learned nothing. So Jesus saw in the Jewish leaders exactly the same murderous spirit that led to the killing of God's prophets. See, they didn't learn. Maybe they just forgot to pass along the information to their family. I don't know. I like to have to make notes in some of my devotionals about miracles that God has done, and have that to go back and remember. Next time I'll get one of my little books out and just kind of give you a taste of that. Okay, so again, Matthew 23, 13 through 39 is a really good read today. And this, oh my goodness, it's 9 o'clock. I got to get busy. Okay, Psalms 28, 1 through 9. And Psalm of David. And he's saying, listen to my prayer for mercy. And then jump down to in 3. It says, those who speak friendly words to their neighbors while planning evil in their heart. Do you have any unsincere friendships? How do you know? How do you know? Are they really kind and sweet to your face? And then when you turn around and leave, oh my goodness, they have ripped you up and down. And are you unsincere with somebody? You can feel it in your heart whenever you have that feeling that, oh, I'm twiddling my thumbs, I'm waiting for them to leave so I don't say anything that I shouldn't say. Well, see, David met with a lot of people because he was the king that pretended to be his friend only to gain what they were wanting. They wanted their goals met. They didn't really care about him. Whoever was sitting there and wearing the crown, that's all they cared about. But on down to verse 7, it says, the Lord is my strength and my shield. I trust him with all of my heart. The Lord gives his people strength. This is your prayer today. Say your prayer today and include this Psalms because it is really good. And then on into Proverbs 7, 1 through 5, and I'm going to jump right in the middle of it. It's talking about the commands to write them deep within your heart. What are you memorizing today? Have you been working on that this year? Is that part of your New Year's resolution to remember to memorize a verse, to store these in your heart? Solomon counseled his son to have a living, breathing relationship with the Word of God. You shouldn't only have that on your mind, but you need to have that soaked up in your heart so that when the time comes, should we not have any Bibles anymore, would we all be able to gather together and say, well, I've memorized this, this, and this. Could we put a Bible together with what we have memorized? Just a thought. Just a thought. Today, pray that you will never neglect justice, mercy, and faith. Pray for justice, pray for mercy, pray for faith today. Today is your day. Go out and love somebody and come back tomorrow. We will be back tomorrow morning and continue on this dynamite Bible study. I love you. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.